Okay, this one is going to be called Love Yourself and Don't Be an Asshole. That's basically the answer. And it's a little bit of a continuation of the beginning, the reason for my last video was I thought today I was going to have a break. You know, the channeling gets me really, really tired and it gives me a headache. And I thought I was going to have a break today. I had ordered a couple of books and I was really excited because I am I've always been totally opposed to organized religion or even like anything in relation to that. Like I would stay away from it because I had this viewpoint that like man corrupts everything. It's their ideology and to not trust it. Well, now they're leading me to read stuff like that to give me some like I'll read something and they'll explain it to me and actually give me a certain they'll tell me that's what it means and it actually makes a lot of sense and I'll do some other videos on it. But like they will guide me to stuff. So I receive certain types of like a download like instantly like a picture and a story. And I was reading some stuff and like I get so excited now. What I want, everybody's going to get to this point that when you calm your mind and you start getting rid of your demons, all the negative chatter, it's like really quiet in your head. You don't have extra comments in your head and it just feels so calm and relaxing. And then you get more information from things that you watch and you see. There's different levels. And when you see something that you've seen before and all of a sudden you get a download or they tell you a statement, give you more information, it's almost like everything's a treasure hunt. Like everything's brand new. So like just sitting by myself, I totally enjoy it because they'll tell me to watch a certain video or read a certain thing like a book I've had for years. I didn't even open it and they're like read it and like look at this section and then they'll explain. I'm like, "Oh my God." So it's like everything for me is fun now. And that'll be the point that everybody will reach. And the easiest way is to love yourself and don't be an asshole. So I was like ready to start reading and then they popped up pictures in my head and it just started feeling really, really sad. And so I have to do this video and I was crying for a while to like be in that energy. And I knew it would bug me not to do the video. So it's for certain people that I picked up on, but then it can be applied to anybody that's feeling this way where they're feeling really down about themselves, feeling down about things that they've done, feeling down like they can't fix themselves, feeling down that they can't overcome their addictions, basically all their demons. And I even, like I said before, sometimes I'll watch certain readers just to see what's going on. And like, I like the energy of the certain readers because they have the same energy as I do where they can't hurt other people because they can pick up on other people. So when we hurt someone, it's like we're hurting ourselves. And that's why we can't be around negative, angry, bitter, resentful people because we feel that it feels nasty and ugly. And then people that like compulsively lie and have a lot of chaos, it gives me a migraine and I can only tolerate them maybe for like an hour or two, like in a week. Like I cannot be around them or even like watch them or just hear them talk. It drives me crazy and I start like getting like anxiety and I start getting confused. So I can't be around that. Well, there kept coming up on the readings about certain people that and there were statements like they're not human anymore. And even the reader was like they couldn't sit in it, the energy that it was dark. And it was just really negative and sad. And basically all it summed up to is these people were giving up. Basically, they felt like they couldn't fix themselves, they couldn't get over their addictions. Um, so they were going to surrender to their demons, basically, go to the dark side. And some of these people I know for a fact have done some really, really bad things. Um, just not to me, but to other people. And most of them aren't even aware that these people are doing these things to them. And you can figure what I'm talking about based on the stuff that I'm discussing. And it's not even just minor stuff. It's like stuff you would see in a movie. Like, it's really, really extreme, really dark. So they wanted me to talk about it. That I wanted to say, like, just how they, my whole life, I didn't realize that my guides were always talking to me and they were giving me visions. And I kept thinking, like, maybe I just was like, had a really insane imagination. And I'll give you examples. And this is all relating to people who died in my life. And my guides let me see, like, I mean, it's going to be hard for me not to cry because that energy is like really messed up. Um, that working on their demons, getting rid of all those voices that's programmed them to be this way and feel this way and act this way. Like our ego, what it is the result of our environment from the moment like we are born. Like I said before, the ego, the negative chatter, the negativity, and just the non-positivity, that is not our natural state. That is not us. And that's the part you have to work on. Like the negativity that you hear in yourself, that's an aspect of you. It's either an aspect of you that's been severed off, shattered, or it's a fucking demon. It's either or. It's the demon, you got to banish them out, ask your guides to help you, or it's an aspect that you have to get back in connection with. It's either one of those. That's all it is. And what happened, all the trauma, picking up demons from other people, your environment, you creating your own, and causing yourself to shatter, that built your ego. That built your personality, which that's not even you. That's not your natural state. You're not hateful. You're not negative. You're a beautiful person. And if that would have never happened, you would just be basically walking around like a fucking angel. That is your natural state. That is not a part of you. That's manufactured. It's an illusion. So I'm going to talk about the different experiences, what they showed me, because they wanted me to never be in a negative state, like especially when someone passed away, and they let me see it. I had a dog. She was half paralyzed. And I had kept her alive for like a year and a half. This is when I first got sick, and it was really hard for me to take care of her. I had her in a wheelchair, and I had to like help her to go to the bathroom and everything. And she kept getting UTIs, and I felt bad. The antibiotics made her like really sick, so I had to put her to sleep. I had paid where the vet would come to your house to give the injection, and I was holding my dog. And right before he gave my dog the injection, I saw a yellow aura around my dog. And then slowly it just faded, after he gave the injection, it faded away and she went to sleep. And then the kid's father, when he got depressed because his family was so dysfunctional and he had money and he sold drugs. And he had gotten depressed because of his mom. And one day, and he was one of those really prideful people. He was like a fighter type. Like he would beat the crap out of everybody and anybody if he felt like it and you looked at him wrong. And his friends were big bullies too. And the most he loved to drink. The most he did was drink. His friends, the most they did was drink. And one friend smoked marijuana. And that was it. That's all they did. And everybody, like, he had close friends that he would sell to. And then he had, like, someone else handle the rest. And some of his close, like, not even close friends, people that he's known when he was younger that had access to him. And they would come by and buy stuff. And he would rag on them. Like, he considered it like it was a lowly thing to do any other type of drug. He saw it as a sign of weakness. Well, he got to the point where, like, he just didn't want to, he was miserable. And it was one day I went to go visit him to see how he was doing before I went to work. And him and his friends, they were on ecstasy. And I thought that was like not him. And it was weird. And he wasn't a real jerk to me. And he was like, let's go have lunch. Let's meet, when you get off of work and, I'm not partying. And I was like, yeah, sure. So when I had driven off, all of a sudden I just started crying. I felt really, really, really sad. And I knew, and he looked fine. He looked fine. I knew that was the last time I was going to see him. And I started crying, and like I knew, like, mentally to tell him goodbye. And what was weird is that drive, after the drive home, I totally forgot about it. Totally forgot about it like it was a dream. It was gone. And then it was about a year. It was like almost exactly a year later. His brother had called me and told me that he had passed away. And it was within that year, he just like drug so much, drank so much that he gave himself congestive heart failure. So the fluid builds up. Your heart can't pump the fluid correctly, and it builds up in your lower body. And it was already like cut. It was did both of his legs, so fluid was seeping out of his legs, and I didn't know. His mom and everybody hid it from me how bad it was, and his mom was so messed up. She didn't stop him from doing that to himself. What she did was get life insurance on him 3 months before he died and kept all the money. Like, she was a very disturbed person. And his brother Charlie had passed away early in the morning, but his brother had called me in the afternoon. And I remembered that drive, that I already knew that he was going to die. Even though there was nothing wrong with him, he was just partying. And and I felt like really depressed about it. And I was always, always thinking about it. And I'll get back to him. Charlie's dad, at the hospital I was working at, Charlie's dad, I guess he had a stroke, and he ended up being at the hospital. He was in a coma. And Charlie I wasn't with Charlie at that time, and he kept calling. He had told me to go visit his dad, at the hospital. And I was busy, and I was like, I had decided, maybe I'll just go the next day. And right when I walked out the building, I had an urge to talk to him mentally, to his dad mentally. And like, for some reason, I had an urge to tell him that he didn't have to hang on, that he didn't have to be here, that he's free to go. And it was soon after that his father ended up passing away. And then, like my dad, when he passed away, he was very, very depressed. And it was because a lot of messed up stuff that happened with his family in Chicago. His mom was really messed up, and it affected him. And then it affected his relationship with me and my brother. Like, he was really, really abusive. And he was an alcoholic because of what my grandma had did in his life, the way it was, which I didn't know details of it until after he died. But before he died, I felt like my dad didn't like me. Like, we would, like, but his family was very supportive, had him call me and everything. And it was like my dad didn't want to talk to me on the phone. He would like, oh, bye, Linda, real quick conversation. And like how abusive he was with me. Like, I was happy with that. I was happy that he wasn't punching me in the face and really crazy stuff. I was happy even just a minor 5-minute conversation. But his diabetes was so bad. He was on dialysis, and he was very like depressed. He didn't want to live. So he would do bad things like drink a lot of water, not follow directions, give everybody a hard time. And he had several strokes. And I did Reiki at the time and did crystal work. And every time he had a stroke, and this was when I was working and going to school, I would go immediately over there to the hospital to do Reiki on him. And he had several strokes, and I didn't know his nickname was the Miracle Man, that he was supposed to die each time he had a stroke. And he would survive and be functional, like normal. Well, the last time he had a stroke, like, I was exhausted. I was like, if my dad doesn't want to live, and then he doesn't even like me, like, I didn't rush there to the hospital. But like 2 weeks before, I didn't know till after he died. I found out that 2 weeks before he passed away, my dad had told his wife that he didn't want to die. So he knew he was going to pass away. And it was weird, like, the last like year or two, a lot of times when he would interact, he kind of sounded a little bit like he was drunk. He wasn't totally with it. And like 2 weeks before he passed away, he actually called me, and he was calling other people saying, how are you, asking how are they were doing. And he was very conversational, which was crazy because it wasn't him. It was almost like he was saying his goodbyes to everybody. But I still remember when we decided to disconnect him from life support, and we called different family to fly in and everything. And it was just, I remember like I hadn't slept for like 2, 3 days. I was exhausted, and I was just crying in the bathroom in the hospital. Like I felt so alone, and it was weird. All of a sudden I had a vision in my head, like it made sense to me. I was like dozing off, but I had a vision in my head. There was a man there talking to me, telling me I wasn't alone, and I believed it. Like it was so real. I believed. I was like, "Oh yeah, I'm not alone. He's here." Until after it, and then I slept, and I was like, there was no man there. I realized nobody was there. And like in the vision in my head, I kept seeing this tall man standing at the window, and it made me feel better. And then my dog Nikki, she was old, and she had diabetes, and she had cataracts, and the calcium, her body was so messed up. She had problems digesting her food, so calcium built up in her ears, so she couldn't hear well, she couldn't see well, and she was always miserable, like having crazy diarrhea and then wanting to eat everything. And I had finally decided to put her to sleep, and it bugged me like when I took her to the vet. She walked in and she knew what I was gonna do. She started wigging out and wanting to leave. But the tech grabbed her really quick. And they put her on the table and they put her to sleep. And afterwards, I just felt so guilty because I remember her wanting to leave. And then at this time, my guides were talking to me like a lot. And I knew. And they were like, they're like, we don't want you to sit in that state of negative energy. And they're like, we've already explained everything to you. They're like, there's nothing to be sad about. Nothing. They're like, you know the science, you know the physics. And like on my other videos, I talked about like, the atoms and the electrons and everything exists right now. The past, present, and future. And they're like, remember that. And so they showed me. And they said, there's nothing to regret. And they showed me the moment my dog died. Her soul came out of her body. It was like she was a puppy again. She was jumping around. She could see. She wasn't in pain. She was free. She was free from her body. And then they were like, remember, everything exists right now. And they're like, the moment she passed away, you were already with her. There was nothing to miss, nothing to regret, nothing to make up. You were already with her. Because everything exists right now. There's no separation. It's an illusion. And they're like, you don't have to regret or make up anything. You're already with her. She's happy with you already. And then with Charlie, like, I didn't know at the time my guides were talking to me and showing me visions. And like, I was really upset because I felt like, because my family's, at that time, I felt so alone having 2 kids to take care of. And then his family is very dysfunctional, not helpful, like because of his mom. And then my family, dysfunctional too, and made my life hard. So I felt so alone and abandoned, and I was like angry at him, even though he was an asshole for leaving me, and then my kids messing them up in the head, and him feeling abandoned and angry, and watching them act crazy, and being depressed. They showed me when he died. And this is what you guys got to understand. All this negativity, And that is not you. That is not your natural state. They showed me the moment that he died. He was already depressed. He wanted to die. And everybody knew, including his mom, which didn't stop him. The moment he died, his soul came out of his body. All the pain, all the negativity, all the chaos, and all the just hating the world, and just, it was gone. It was gone. And it's almost like this body collects all that negative energy, and it's just a negative energy meat suit for your soul. So it's like he shed it all off. Then he realized, all I could hear him say is, "What did I do? What did I do? I want to go back. What did I do?" He realized it wasn't real. That suit was not real. All the negativity that it was not real. He got duped. He got duped by his environment, and he internalized it and considered it himself. And he just let that chatter keep going and going and defining who he was, defining how he was going to manifest the world, defining how he was going to treat himself, defining how he was going to let other people treat him. And that's what I want. Whoever's negative, whatever you're thinking, I just want you to know, the way it is, it doesn't have to be that way. And the things you've done, when you do die, either by your own hand, by your not doing things to keep yourself alive, just walking around like wanting to die, it's going to cause you to realize you got duped by the world. That all that shittiness didn't have to be that way. You didn't have to think of people in a shitty way. You didn't have to do shitty shit to people. That it's not real. It's not you. It's almost like clothing, like shit clothing you're wearing that's affected you, and you've worn it for so long it becomes a part of you. And you just have to shed it off. With little work, just shed it off. Love yourself and don't be an asshole. And then now, since they're leading me to read, like, they'll tell me which videos to watch, and then they'll tell me that's correct. They'll tell me what something means. And they were leading me to certain scriptures, certain hermetic teachings, because they wanted to show me, like, they taught me all this. Even like word for word phrases, and it weirds me out. To show me that they can speak to you and give you the answers, and all the teachings that you go searching for, that you can already receive it directly from source. And there's always a risk that you get a skewed interpretation, receiving it from somebody else, receiving it from outside yourself. So they wanted to prove it to me. Then when they say the answers are within, literally they are within when you do the work. And you shut that chatter, and then you can hear your guides better. You can hear the universe better. And then when you don't have judgment, the information comes in clear, because your judgment skews it. Your judgment causes your brain to interpret it a certain way, a perspective. And there was I don't remember the exact scriptures, because like I'm not a religious person. I always avoided all that stuff. I thought like it tainted your mind and everything. Well, it was in reference to the children of God, the children of light, and the priests coming into the holy temple, and they weren't allowed through the doors until they bleached their garments. And they said the garment is not talking about physical clothing. They're talking about the body, the soul that carries all this and takes the energy from the environment. So they want you to cleanse your soul, cleanse your body, cleanse all that negative energy, cleanse all that shit flinging, cleanse all those demons. That's your garment. Your body is your garment. And it also, it's your temple. And since it's your garment, is not a part of you. It taints everything. The people you hang around with, the negativity, the environments, the situations, it taints you, and then that's what shapes your ego or makes your ego. And that constant negative, all the negative stuff, it is not you. I want you to understand that. The negative stuff is either a demon or an aspect of you that got shattered. And you either have to decide figure out if it's a demon, banish it, get rid of it. And if it's an aspect that's shattered, work with it. Be loving to it. That's where all the negative shit is coming from. And it's shaping your experience, shaping how you see things, shaping your actions, shaping the shitty shit you do to yourself, to other people, to animals, to the planet. Just want you to know that is not a part of you. That is not your natural state. Your natural state is a beautiful thing. That is basically just like an angel running around. And no matter how you would picture an angel, that's what you are. And you need to remember that. So, again, the keys, love yourself and don't be a fucking asshole. Just get the fuck away from shitty people, shitty environments. You do have to sit with yourself. Work on your demons and your aspects. And then realize if all the shit that you've done to yourself and other people, the moment your soul disconnects from your body, it would almost like destroy you to realize what you did for no fucking reason. That all of it was an illusion. All the hate and the jealousy and the negativity, and it was an illusion. There was no reason for that. That you got duped by your environment. That you believed the illusion to the point you took it as a part of yourself. And you keep on doing that, it's going to destroy you. So I hope this helps some people to understand that all this negative shit is not you. And there's no reason for you to give up and to quit doing dookie shit to yourself and other people, because you will regret it. And it will eat you up alive. And then when you're a spirit, God doesn't have to punish you. You will do it to yourself. Putting yourself in another lifetime where all the things that you did to other people, so you can learn, your soul, your energy can learn, all these people will be doing it to you. And it's like, why do that to yourself? Why make yourself repeat things? Why don't you just get it right this time? Just love yourself and not be an asshole.